I want to start by having you tell us, obviously one of the storylines last week was Alex Eala and the massive crowds that she was bringing to Dubai, which is not a tournament that...
And everywhere else that she plays.
Yes, and everywhere else that she plays. I think it was perhaps maybe more notable there because that's not a tournament that is typically packed to the gills.
Last season, Alex Eala arrived in Miami with almost nothing to lose. She wasn't one of the tournament favorites, she wasn't a seeded player, and very few people expected her name to dominate headlines. Most fans simply viewed her as a talented young wildcard hoping to gain valuable experience against the world's best. But over the course of 2 unforgettable weeks, she completely changed that perception. Every match seemed to bring another surprise, another upset, and another reason for tennis fans around the world to stop and pay attention. By the time her remarkable run came to an end, she wasn't just another rising prospect anymore, she had become one of the biggest stories in women's tennis. Now, 1 year later, everything is different. She isn't returning as an underdog chasing a miracle. She's returning as a seeded player carrying enormous expectations, thousands of passionate supporters, and the pressure of proving that last year's breakthrough was only the beginning. But what makes this year's Miami Open even more fascinating isn't just the pressure on Alex Eala, it's how the entire tournament has quietly changed because of her presence. And that's where this story becomes far bigger than anyone expected.
In the semi-final of 1000, you're now a top 100 tennis player. What's going through your mind at the moment, Alex?
It's such a huge jump, but I don't know, my mind is really blank now. I don't think I've processed what I've just done. But in the end, I'm still the same player I was 2 weeks ago, so it's weird because so much has changed, yet nothing really changed.
The biggest difference this time isn't Alex Eala's ranking, it's the reaction she now receives everywhere she goes. A year ago, she needed an opportunity to prove herself. Today, tournaments know she brings something very few players can guarantee: attention. Practice courts suddenly become packed, fans arrive hours before her matches, and social media clips featuring her continue spreading across multiple platforms within hours. That's a remarkable transformation for a player still early in her professional journey. She hasn't collected multiple major trophies yet, but she has already built something equally valuable: a loyal global fan base that follows every step of her career. Reports have highlighted unusually strong demand surrounding her Miami appearance, showing just how quickly her popularity has grown. The conversation is no longer about whether Alex belongs among the elite. It's about how high her ceiling really is. But popularity alone never wins tennis matches, and the biggest challenge was still waiting for her. Returning to Miami also means returning with something she never had before: pressure. Last year every victory felt like a bonus because nobody expected a deep run. This season every round carries expectations. The ranking points earned from her unforgettable semi-final appearance are now on the line, meaning every match could influence her place in the standings. That's one of the toughest adjustments any young player faces. Suddenly every mistake feels more expensive, every draw is analyzed, and every result becomes headline material. Fans celebrate success, but they also expect consistency. The mental side of the game becomes just as important as the tennis itself. Fortunately for Eala, the past year has given her something she lacked during her breakout run: experience against the very best. And that experience could make all the difference. Since that unforgettable Miami campaign, Alex Eala has continued proving she can compete on the biggest stages. She has faced top-ranked opponents, collected valuable wins, and gained confidence with every tournament she entered. Even in matches she didn't win, she showed she could stay composed under enormous pressure. That's often what separates future champions from temporary sensations. Instead of disappearing after one magical tournament, she kept improving. Coaches, analysts, and former players have increasingly pointed to her maturity, court awareness, and fearless shot-making as reasons her rise looks sustainable rather than accidental. Every tournament has added another chapter to her development, and now Miami presents the perfect opportunity to show just how much her game has evolved. But the draw could create some fascinating storylines. Fans are already imagining possible blockbuster matchups. A potential rematch against one of the stars she stunned during her breakthrough run would instantly become one of the tournament's biggest attractions. That's because history changes everything. Once you've beaten elite players, they never underestimate you again. At the same time, Eala now walks onto the court believing she belongs there, regardless of who stands across the net. That confidence wasn't handed to her, it was earned through months of competing against world-class opposition. Every top player now knows she's capable of producing another upset if given the opportunity. The mystery isn't whether she has the talent anymore. The real question is whether she can deliver when the spotlight is brighter than ever before. What makes Alex Eala's story different from many rising stars is the connection she has built with fans. Across the Philippines and among Filipino communities worldwide, every tournament feels bigger when she's competing. Supporters proudly wear national colors, fill the stands, and flood social media with encouragement before every match begins. That emotional connection creates an atmosphere few young players experience so early in their careers. It also attracts sponsors, broadcasters, and tournament organizers who recognize the excitement surrounding her matches. In today's tennis world, influence extends beyond rankings, and Eala has become one of the fastest-growing names in the sport. Still, with greater popularity comes even greater expectations. The coming days could shape the next stage of Alex Eala's career. A deep run in Miami would strengthen the belief that her breakthrough wasn't a one-time moment but the beginning of something much bigger. Even another quarterfinal appearance would reinforce her position among the WTA's rising stars. And if she goes beyond last year's result, the conversation could shift toward the top 20 and eventually even bigger goals. Of course, none of it will come easily. Every opponent will arrive fully prepared, knowing exactly what she's capable of. That's the price of becoming one of the sport's most talked about young players. The target on her back has never been larger. Whether Alex Eala lifts the trophy or exits the tournament earlier than expected, one thing has already become impossible to ignore: her place in women's tennis has changed forever. Just 1 year ago, she arrived in Miami as a promising young wildcard with nothing to lose and everything to prove. Very few people expected her to become one of the biggest stories of the tournament, yet she stunned some of the sport's biggest names and announced herself to the world in spectacular fashion. Today, she returns under completely different circumstances. She is no longer the player trying to earn respect, she is the player everyone is watching. She carries the hopes of millions of Filipino fans, the expectations that come with being a seeded player, and the confidence that only comes from proving she can compete with the very best. Every tournament she enters now feels bigger because of the excitement surrounding her, and every match attracts more attention than the one before. Opponents know they cannot underestimate her, broadcasters know fans want to watch her, and tournament organizers understand that her presence creates genuine excitement both inside the stadium and across social media. That kind of influence is rare for a player who is still at the beginning of her professional journey, making her rise one of the most fascinating stories in women's tennis today. Miami is no longer simply the place where Alex Eala shocked the tennis world, it's the place where she has the opportunity to prove that her breakthrough was only the beginning of something much greater. This year, the challenge is completely different. Instead of surprising everyone, she must handle the pressure of expectations, defend valuable ranking points, and show that she can consistently deliver on one of the biggest stages in the sport. That isn't an easy task for any young player, but throughout the past year she has continued to grow with every tournament, every difficult match, and every lesson learned against elite competition. Those experiences have made her mentally stronger and technically more complete than she was during her unforgettable run last season. Whether she reaches another semifinal, goes even further, or experiences an early exit, her impact on the sport has already been established. She has inspired a new generation of young athletes, brought unprecedented global attention to Philippine tennis, and demonstrated that talent, determination, and belief can change an entire career in just one season. But perhaps the most exciting part of her story is that it still feels like the beginning. If Alex Eala produces another memorable performance in Miami, fans may eventually look back at this tournament not as the place where her breakthrough happened, but as the moment she truly established herself as one of the future superstars of women's tennis. And if that happens, the incredible journey everyone has been celebrating so far may turn out to be only the opening chapter of an even greater legacy.